Next up from there is the 20 to 30 rep range. This is the highest end of the hypertrophy range. It's hypertrophy training primarily for definition and aesthetics, with a secondary benefit of athleticism and endurance. All right, you're going to become a lot more athletic and be conditioning yourself for more endurance, which is a good thing. All right, this rep range trains your body to grow muscle in a way that does still cause your muscles to increase in mass. So don't think that this rep range doesn't cause you to get bigger and will only cause you to become toned and skinny. This rep range does cause growth. But here you are not training for the purpose of becoming bulky and huge volume-wise as with the 5 to 10 rep range, but more for definition and toning, which causes you to become more aesthetic looking, giving you that definitively shredded appearance that bodybuilders who are physique competitors and fitness models go for. So, though you will certainly see significant size increases in this rep range, just as long as you are pushing yourself hard enough and going close to failure. You may not get as large as you might get from lower rep ranges, because with lower rep ranges, you're training more for volume, whereas with the higher rep ranges, you are growing in mass, which means muscle density. So this is a form of training that produces great definition in your muscles, thus creating an extremely aesthetic physique in which all parts of your muscle and even the muscle fibers themselves are starting to pop out and become visible. And this rep range is ideal for cutting fat and getting shredded. It's also a favorite among athletes and is considered more athletic in the sense that more reps means you are doing more work and experiencing more time under tension and training a little bit for endurance, and also doing more reps gives you more room to do certain things that make the exercise very hard, such as fast partials with constant time under tension and no rest or pause between reps, or varying the movement of each rep slightly so that you are targeting the muscle from slightly different angles throughout the set. All right, there's certain exercises such as the downward fly where I'm able to do it out here or down here, right? And so I will do that exercise with a higher number of reps and start by going out here and, go all the way down there and then out again. And another example that you saw me do when I taught you how to do the dumbbell bench presses was that I split my setup into 2 halves and did a different technique for each half. So your upper rep ranges are good for doing different techniques in the same set. Also, because the rep count is so high, this type of training borders on other forms of exercise such as metabolic, aerobic, cardio, and endurance training, such as what you would do for a sport or fat loss, thus making it a happy medium between hypertrophy training and sport or fat loss training, which will give you, again, the best of both of those worlds. So this is the best rep range if you want to both look better and become more athletic. Now, this rep range probably stimulates more slow twitch fibers, which are generally smaller fibers, and which is why you will probably not grow as big as with the lower rep ranges, which probably stimulate more fast twitch fibers. And this rep range has its own set of pros and cons and trade-offs. The pros are that in addition to producing great definition, this range gets you the greatest pump and the most metabolites in the muscle, and thus is great for sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is something you're going to learn in the next phase where I teach you all about the science of hypertrophy. Another pro is that this rep range is the healthiest rep range and is the easiest on your joints and connective tissue and comes with less inflammation and aches and pains. So that's a real great benefit. And this rep range also probably has the most benefits for most people without as much of a downside as the others, okay? But it is not without its cons. The cons are that since it borders on endurance training, you may actually start to exhaust your nervous system and respiratory system before your muscles. So if you're going close to failure, unless you get really used to doing this rep range where you've developed a great lactate threshold and you've conditioned your nervous system and respiratory system to be able to handle it, you may actually find that with certain exercises, your muscles are not the limiting factors, because when you start to fail, it's not because your muscles are getting fatigued, but because your central nervous system or respiratory system is. So you may be getting more of a metabolic workout than a muscular workout because the most hypertrophy occurs in the reps closest to failure. But in this rep range, your muscles may not actually be getting close to failure, and you'll simply be failing due to central nervous system fatigue and not having enough endurance. Also, this range does not stimulate fast twitch muscle fibers as well as the lower rep ranges, and while this rep range does provide muscular conditioning, it's not conditioning you to get stronger or lift heavy weights, which is important. And the only way to get stronger is to lift heavier. So you do need to have some heavier lifting in the lower rep ranges in a hypertrophy program. So while this rep range may be good to focus on a lot, you wouldn't want to focus on it too much more than the 10 to 20 and 5 to 10 range. But you will find that there's a lot of bodybuilders and professional athletes who really love this rep range and do a lot of training in it. And that's because it has so many great benefits, and so it is something that you do want to do in good measure.